Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, we're supposed to have a rainy rest of the year. At least that's what they're saying. No white stuff in the forecast. In fact, some of the overnight lows just before the end of this year is going to be 50 degrees for an overnight low at the end of December. That's a little crazy around here. That El Nino or whatever is doing its job, but we could use the rain. It's supposed to be pretty rainy on Christmas Day for those people out there that actually do Christmas. Anyways, it's also that time of the year that people do predictions for next year and New Year's resolutions. You know, everyone's talking about it online, and well, it's not really a prediction. I don't like doing those, but my best guess is that 2024 will be the year of war. Somehow, some way, somewhere, the year of war. There's just so much going on, and the tensions are building that honestly, as close as we are to the end of the year, I would not be surprised if something somewhere pops off or escalates significantly even before the end of the year. Yemen has called for a general mobilization of its citizens for preparing for war. They're calling up all available, eligible bachelors, men, to come and fight for the war. They've said that they are sending troops. They are definitely, I don't know how they're planning on doing this, but they say that they are definitely sending troops into Gaza to help Hamas. Ukraine has done the same thing. They're calling up 500,000 men. I don't know where they're going to find them, but they say that they're calling up also people that left Ukraine. If you remember when Russia invaded, a lot of Ukrainians slipped out the back door and went to Poland and Germany, and so they're calling up all of those potential males that went there. How they'll enforce that, who knows, but I'm sure some of those countries might be willing to just say, hey, get on out of here. But that's happening. Russia is working on seizing some European energy assets. I don't know all the details on that, but apparently there are some natural gas assets that Russia can take control of, and so they claim that they are going to. That's going to make it for a pretty miserable cold winter if things, kind of spiral out of control for Europe, because it's cold and most of Europe's heavily dependent upon Russia for energy to keep it warm. So that's not a good thing. China, if you just remember a few weeks ago when Xi Jinping visited here in the United States, he claimed that there was not going to be any kind of war with Taiwan. They just weren't going to do that. Well, now they have done a 180, and they said, in fact, told Biden that they were, in fact, going to take Taiwan, that they were going to reunite and take back Taiwan. So there's a big old escalation there. Our ships are moving in all over the place in the Gulf area to try to create some kind of protection for shipping, which isn't working too well because most of the shipping now is being rerouted all the way around Africa. That's going to cause a cost increase. That's around a 3,000-mile extra trip to go around Africa. So we're going to see shipping costs probably predominantly in the European theater area, but it could definitely cause shipping costs or just cost of everything to go up around the world because of that. That's pretty significant. Here in the United States, you've heard in the last few days that Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump cannot be on the ballot in 2024. And a lot of people are wondering, is that the start of the Civil War? You know, the big movie that everyone's talking about that's coming out this spring. Maybe that's the start of it. Well, since then, California says that they are now looking into ways of doing the same thing. And the state of Texas is saying that, you know what, if you're going to do that, we're going to see about taking Joe Biden off of the ballot here in Texas. So it's quite possible there's a trend going on there, and we could see, kind of separation of states or something like that. The amount of illegals pouring into the southern border, and really all borders of the United States, but predominantly southern border, is so significant that Texas is now chartering private flights to ship illegals out. They've been doing this on buses, and now they're saying that they're going to start chartering flights and shipping them to Chicago. They're not doing this, they say, forcefully. It's just anyone that volunteers to get on a plane or a bus and go somewhere else, they'll do it. Video footage at the border is showing a pretty significant increase in the amount of Chinese nationals that are coming across the border. So it's not just people literally south of the border, it's from all over the world, and a lot from the Chinese country, which is interesting because if China is really kind of building up towards a potential war, which is what it looks like, why would they be allowing any of their young males, because it's all young, eligible, military-aged males, why are they allowing them to come over here? China doesn't allow that kind of stuff. So it's interesting, to say the least. I know I ran through a lot of stuff there, and then there's a lot more stuff to go through. But the point is that there are massive global tensions, there are domestic tensions, and a lot of it is pointing towards war. The wars and rumors of wars. Just about every week, there's some news article talking about some region of the planet where there is conflict, and it could potentially, spiral into some kind of war, whether local, regional, or whatever. Is this biblical prophecy being fulfilled? It's very possible, very, very likely. I do think that this next year, the next 6 to 12 months are going to get a lot worse than they've been. I think it's going to get a lot crazier, and if the United States finds itself in a multiple theater war, that could be very devastating. All the analysts over the last couple of years have said that the United States is not capable of waging a multi-front war, even though most of the government inside people are saying, oh no, that's not a big problem. But I think most of us realize that we're just not in a position to do that, especially against potential enemies that have a much more equal standing or closer to equal standing in their capabilities, unlike fighting, ragtag terrorist groups. It could be very devastating for this country economically. Dollar, a lot of this stuff, the conflict really is at the end is revolving around the prominence of the U.S. dollar. So there's a lot of stuff that could affect that. We're getting close to a time period with all of this conflict that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, the United States could actually see threats here on our homeland, whether they be done internally by terrorists that do things inside or a foreign force actually striking inside the United States. I see that as a possibility. I'm not saying likely, but possible. So over the next 6 to 12 months, or even sooner than that, we could be seeing a great drastic change in America, what we've ever seen before. And we need to take these things seriously and get ourselves prepared. One of the things that we need to be doing as a community, I guess, and some of you are out there still lone wolfing it, but if you have people around you, like-minded people, is learn to get along. There's a lot of fighting going on. We can't be fighting amongst ourselves. So we need to learn to get along. We need to learn to strengthen our families and our communities, because when times get tough and stressful, it's going to put such a great burden on us that it's going to be hard in relationships. It just is. I mean, look at the statistics of husbands and wives when they lose a child. And that's a horribly tragic thing. I can tell you firsthand, it's awful. The numbers are pretty high of the amount of divorces that happen after losing a child, because the amount of stress and the anguish and pain is so much that it pulls the relationship apart. That's going to be a similar effect as things get worse and crazier and more stressful and dangerous. Families and tight-knit little mag tribe communities may fall apart, and you don't want that. You want to be pushing through those hard times, and people are going to get ugly. You're going to see sides of family and friends that you never thought you'd see, but it's going to be necessary to push through all this. And then we also have to be tolerant and understanding and have a loving spirit so that we can keep that together. Yeah, preparedness is way more than freeze-dried food and buckets of beans and rice and bullets. That stuff's important. It is. But there's actually a lot of things that's way more important in your personal relationship with God the Father, and your relationship in your family and your community is really much more paramount. And so as the world churns and spirals out of control, we really need to work on those kind of things, because I'm telling you, it's going to mean more to you when it comes to your surviving all of this than that rice and beans and all that kind of stuff. Again, important stuff, but not as important as this. Folks, you need to be getting your houses in order. You need to be preparing yourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, your families, your communities, all of that. You need to work together. Even if it's your neighbors that they're good people, but they're not preppers, start talking to them. Don't just dump the whole subject on them at once, but start the conversation, because you want them on your side when things go spiraling out of control. And the way things are looking right now, it may not be much longer before they start really doing that. Folks, get it ready. You know what you're supposed to do, and you know that the time is running short. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.